We are back with round two of a Red Raccoon Games premier tournament. We have Saxon from Shadows of the Galaxy with the yellow base going up against the new Obi-Wan Kenobi from Legends of the Force with a red Force base. Let's check it out. All right, on the left we have Chris with Saxon yellow, and on the right we have Taylor bringing the Obi-Wan Kenobi from Legends of the Force with the red Force base. We are in round two. Both these players won their first match. And both these decks have a little bit of an aggro focus. Of course, Saxon is going to want to use a lot of those shielded units to get the buff from Saxon and get a lot of damage out early. And these Obi-Wan decks are going to want to generate the Force and use Obi-Wan Kenobi's ability to use the Force and give an experience token to a unit that does not already have an experience token. So both decks aiming to pump up their own units and go for a quick victory. So both these players are going to have to both go towards that strategy, but also try to mitigate their opponent's plans. Obi-Wan Kenobi flipping on 5 resources, a 3/6, and on attack can give an experience token to another friendly unit without an experience token. So looks like Chris with the Saxon has the initiative. Between his hand, looks like he has Secretive Sage, so that is a pretty solid start. And with the shield, it is a 3/2 right now. And Taylor taps 2 for the Jedi Consular. And now is a 1/4. But you may use the Force to trigger its action ability to bring out a unit, and it costs 2 less. So if Taylor is able to get the Force online, that unit can give her some pseudo ramp and allow her to bring out some big units pretty fast. So Chris is looking to see if he's got something to take that out, and looks like he has the Hot Shot Blaster. So Secretive Sage is going to hit for 5. So he could hit for base and just try to start racing. But he goes ahead and takes out the Jedi Consular. He doesn't want to have to deal with that. And most importantly, Taylor doesn't generate the Force this turn, and she's just has to play Blue Leader in space, not ambushing into anything. So Chris is going to claim here. We go into the next turn. So that Secretive Sage is going to be hitting 4/5 power. And that damage can add up very quickly. So we're going to see if Taylor has an answer for that. So Chris Hand looks like he has another Secretive Sage, a Boba Fett pilot, No Good to Me Dead, a Surprise Strike, and an Inferno 4. He's going to go ahead and tap 2 and Surprise Strike. He's just going to try to go for a fast victory here. Going to do 8 damage to base. Taylor going to tap 4 for the Jedi Temple Guards. Is a 2/4 with Ambush and Restore 2. So that will take out the Secretive Sage as well as Restore 2. 6 damage on Taylor's base. She's got a ready Blue Leader in space. We're just going to tap 2 for No Good to Me Dead to try to slow down the Blue Leader. And Taylor's going to go ahead and give an experience token to Blue Leader with Obi-Wan. And Chris is going to claim here. So Chris drawing Lom Pike and another Boba Fett. So Lom Pike can come out of the resource row, which would be really nice. So that Blue Leader should be exhausted here because No Good to Me Dead was used. And they correct it there. And so Chris is going to play Inferno 4 and keep 1 card on top, 1 card on the bottom. Taylor is going to deploy Obi-Wan Kenobi. Chris is going to deploy Boba Fett onto the Inferno 4 and able to deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. It is 2 damage if it's attached to a transport, but just 1 damage because Inferno 4 is a fighter. So the damage is going to go on to Obi-Wan. Now Taylor has all 5 resources open and Obi-Wan deployed. Let's see what she plays here. So for 4 resources, she plays another Jedi Temple Guard. And Chris is going to claim. And for 1 resource, she's going to force throw. Let's see who she names. Looks like Chris is going to have to discard a card here. He's got a Secretive Sage and Boba Fett. So you can discard the Secretive Sage and just take 2 damage to Inferno 4. So Taylor likely going to swing in with Obi-Wan. 3 damage to base, giving an experience token to the Jedi Temple Guard, bumping it up to a 3/5 with Restore 2. So 3 damage on Chris's base, 6 damage on Taylor's. Now we are going into the Gar Saxon flip turn. We know that Lom Pike is in the resource row. Chris draws into the ST Shuttle 149 and a No Good to Me Dead. Now, No Good to Me Dead can be really good here. So I think he decides to keep it and resource. Didn't see what he resourced there. Looks like he resourced the Boba Fett, which makes sense. It's a great call there. So he can, because he already has Boba Fett as a pilot. He's gonna No Good to Me Dead the Obi-Wan, stop it from giving experience tokens. And Blue Leader is going to run into Inferno 4. Now it is Chris's turn. And he plays the shuttle. Now what he can do is he can steal an experience token because that is a token upgrade. So it is a May trigger. So he might not realize, but he could steal the experience token from the Jedi Temple Guard and buff up his own unit. And so now Gar Saxon is deployed. And we see Adi Gallia played. So Taylor just building up her board here. So Chris claims here. And Taylor passes. So he may have suspected that Taylor couldn't play another card and he wants the initiative going into this turn. So Obi-Wan cannot ready here because of No Good to Me Dead. It's sometimes good to mark that with, you know, another sort of token. And looks like they catch that again. So Chris has No Good to Me Dead in hand, so I suspect he's going to play that and smuggle out Lom Pike this turn. So looking into the resource rows, trying to find that. So we're going to see him tap 5 for Lom Pike. Now Taylor tapping 4 resources, it looks like. Or maybe just organizing here. Then Chris is maybe waiting to use No Good to Me Dead in case something gets upgraded with maybe like a constructed saber or a general's blade. And the Jedi Temple Guard looks like is going to swing into Gar Saxon, dealing 3 damage, and Taylor's going to restore 2 off of her base. Taylor with 4 damage on base. Chris still at 6. So Chris swings in to Taylor's base with the shuttle for 4 damage. It is a 3/4 with the shield. It gets an extra power from Saxon. Taylor taps the rest of her resources. 7 for Mace Windu Party Crasher from Spark of Rebellion. It's a 5/7 with ambush, and when it attacks and defeats a unit, it can ready itself. So this Mace Windu comes in, takes out Saxon, and gets a swing again at base. Now Chris claims here one possible strategy could have been using No Good to Me Dead on Mace Windu to really slow it down. But Adi Gali is going to do 2 into Lam Pike, and Mace Windu is going to go ahead and finish it off. So Chris just left with the shuttle in space. Both players at 7 resources. They both have the option to go to 8. Chris is going to put down the Hotshot Blaster in the row. Taylor goes ahead, puts that. Now, with these types of green heroism decks, especially with Force, we might see Yoda come out. We might see Ob-Wan, a great classic card there. And Chris is going to go ahead and use No Good to Me Dead on Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that is his 3rd No Good to Me Dead there. So Taylor does not have to worry about that anymore. And now we see Yoda. She uses the Force, going to heal 5 damage from base. And every time you use the Force with Yoda out, you get to deal damage to an opponent's unit equal to twice the amount of units you control. So the shield prevents that damage, but they ping off the shield. But Taylor's likely going to be able to generate the Force off of the Jedi Temple Guard attacking. So Chris goes ahead and plays Surprise Strike, dealing 6 damage into Taylor's base. Taylor responds with the Jedi Temple Guard and restoring 2. So 9 damage on Chris's base, 7 on Taylor's. But Chris trying to see if he put down anything for Smuggle, only the Hotshot Blaster, so he's going to have to claim. Taylor passes. Now Taylor should have the Force from the Jedi Temple Guards. Now Chris is going to go ahead and put Snapshot Reflexes on the shuttle, hit for 5, bring Taylor up to 12 damage. Taylor is going to tap, looks like 8 for Ob-Wan, and going to be able to bring back a unit from a heroism unit from the discard. It costs 3 less, so she can bring back something that costs 3 or 4 resources here if she wants to tap the remaining resource. So she's going to bring Blue Leader out. Now could ambush. So it looks like she ambushes that in to get the restore there off of Ob-Wan. I'm wondering if maybe she has a daring raid or a force throw to finish off the shuttle. She goes ahead and attacks with Obi-Wan. Gives an experience token to Ob-Wan. Chris is going to claim here, and now the Jedi Temple Guard swings in. Bring Chris's base damage up to 15 and restoring 2, or restoring 3 because of Ob-Wan. And now Yoda swings in. Now Chris is at 20 damage on base. Taylor only at 6. And with Yoda and Ob-Wan out, these are big, major threats Chris is going to have to deal with. And he only has Greedo and Boba Fett in hand. And he goes ahead and attaches Boba Fett onto the Lurking Tie. It's going to finally finish off the Jedi Temple Guard. Now Taylor's going to play Mace Windu and use the Force. You deal 4 damage to the shuttle, taking it out. And because that's doing 4 damage. And even if it didn't, so there's Yoda to finish it off, but the Lurking Tie prevents any damage from enemy card effects. So Lurking Tie stays out there. So the Lurking Tie can swing in for 6 power here. Then Chris just goes ahead and swings 6 into base. Then we're going to see Home 1 deal 8 damage. Chris plays his last card, Greedo, and I think Taylor has this. Going to swing in with Yoda, dealing lethal damage to Chris's base. So Taylor, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, takes game 1. So she was able to build up control of the board and slow down Chris's aggression with those surprise strikes and shielded units. So that game showed us that whoever can keep their units on the board longer definitely will have an advantage. So Chris, opening hand, has some crafty smugglers, asteroid sanctuary, so things that can come in shielded or give a shield are going to be very useful in this matchup because the green and red decks often their removal is based on dealing direct damage, like with like an open fire or an ambush. So those shields can come in, can be really useful. So Chris is going to start with the crafty smuggler. Taylor plays Gunji. Now we did see that Green Squadron A-Wing in hand. So Chris draws into, looks like Greedo and Surprise Strike. So he resources the Surprise Strike. Sometimes those Gunji units, if they can get a Constructed Saber or a General's Blade, can get out of hand really quickly. But he does have Asteroid Sanctuary. And that, with Asteroid Sanctuary, he can exhaust an enemy unit and give a shield token to a friendly unit that costs 3 or less. So if that Gunji gets out of hand, he has a way to exhaust it for a turn. So he goes 3 into base with the crafty smuggler. It's now to Taylor. Does she want to make this Gunji stronger with an upgrade? Does she want to attack or play something else out? Goes ahead and does 2 into base, or 2 into the crafty smuggler to ping off the shield, taking 2 damage back on Gunji, or 3 damage back on Gunji, and generating the force. Chris plays Greedo there. Now Taylor gives another experience token to Gunji, but Greedo could attack in and defeat Gunji. And now here's the Jedi Consular. And Taylor passes. So one line could be to play Greedo to take out Gunji, and then you only have Jedi Consular swinging for 1. Now Chris in hand has Iden, the ST Shuttle, Asteroid Sanctuary, Boba Pilot, and I think Director Krennic here. So he's got to resource one of those. Now Iden can be played for 4, so that might be just a strong unit, a big shielded body to get out there. Now if Chris swings into Gunji with Greedo and gets to trigger Greedo's effect, he might be able to deal 2 to Jedi Consular. But looks like he's going to do Asteroid Sanctuary on Gunji and give a shield to Greedo, so keeping Greedo alive and swinging for 4. And this is actually a great play because now Greedo can swing and take out Jedi Consular and survive. So really cool play there, using those shields to his advantage. So Jedi Consular looks like is tapped and can deal 1 damage to base, generating the Force. Remember, with that ST shuttle, Chris can play it and take control of one of those experience upgrades that Taylor is putting on a lot of her units. All right, so Greedo is going to do 4 into base. And then the Jedi Temple Guard is going to come in ambush, deal 2 to take out Crafty Smuggler, and restore 2. And now Chris plays Director Krennic out, another shielded unit. Taylor's going to buff up Jedi Consular, making it a 2/5, so out of the range of Greedo. But as we were talking about before, that shuttle could steal and take control of an experience upgrade and give it to one of his own units and just totally swing the power dynamic of these small early game units. So draws the 7th Fleet Defender. Resources. Looks like he had another Greedo. Now Taylor should have the Force generated from the Jedi Temple Guard. So that means the Jedi Consular can use its ability and bring out something that costs up to 7. Oh, never mind. So I stand corrected. Taylor did use Obi-Wan's ability and use the Force. So Chris does have some time. He's going to go ahead and take out Gunji. Another line there could have been doing 4 into the Jedi Consular and then taking the experience off to kill it. But Taylor's going to generate the Force here. And with Jedi Temple Guard attacking into base for 2 and healing 2. Now Chris can swing this position a little bit. Takes out the Jedi Temple Guard, turns off Taylor's healing, which really helped her out last game, so a good play there. And now we see the Jedi Consular use the Force, and let's see what's coming out here. For 7 is Mace Windu, a big play for Taylor here. That's going to ambush, take out Krennic, and ready. With that sort of firepower this early, this is looking really scary for Chris here. He's going to tap 4 for the shuttle. Doesn't take control of another token upgrade. Taylor's going to use Obi-Wan, buff up Mace Windu. So Chris claims here, and Taylor's going to take out Greedo. 5 damage on Mace Windu. Chris is going to discard, and it is a hot shot blaster, so he can deal 2 damage. Now, that with the experience token, it will not kill Mace Windu, but we'll leave it with 1 health left. Goes ahead and puts 2 damage on Mace Windu. 7 damage on Mace. 8 health total with that experience. Gonna swing in for another 6 to Chris's base. 9 damage on Chris's base, 3 on Taylor's. Here Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out. And is gonna swing for another 3, bringing Chris up to 12 damage on base. And generating the Force. Chris being a very friendly player, reminding Taylor when to turn on the Force token. We love to see that good sportsmanship. So Chris, with 6 resources, this is the guard Saxon deploy turn. See, no good to me dead in hand. And all three of those units are a good target for it. And now Chris has a tough decision. What's he going to exhaust? So he exhausts the most powerful unit on the board, Mace Windu. So saves himself from 6 damage. But now Taylor can use Jedi Consular. She brings out Ki-Adi-Mundi. But this is an error because she uses the Force with Jedi Consular. And then Ki-Adi-Mundi has to use the Force. Now, the way to correct it is say that you paid 4 for Ki-Adi-Mundi, since she already saw the cards. So that was a misplay there. And now Bright Hope comes in and returns Mace Windu. So when I commentate on these, it is not live, so we cannot go back and tell the players. So that is somewhat of a major gameplay error. But Taylor already had a big board. I'm not quite sure how much that would have impacted. But anyway, back to the game. Chris is going to attach Snapshot Reflexes onto Gar Saxon at 6 power and going to take out Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Taylor's going to claim initiative here. And now 4, we see Iden Versio pilot going onto the shuttle, giving another shield to it. And it's going to attack and defeat the Bright Hope. So Chris having some strong units on there. However, we know that Taylor has Mace Windu in hand. And it looks like she drew to Ewing Reinforcement. A great card there. So we might see Mace come out and defeat Gar Saxon. It will have enough power. Gar has exactly 5 health left. So Taylor does not have the Force here. And so Mace Windu should cost 7. Now she does generate the Force off of Mace Windu attacking. Unless she may have had the Force. Oh, yeah, I don't think she had the Force there, so she should have been paying the full cost for Mace Windu. And Power of the Dark Side from Chris. And she's going to go ahead and defeat the Jedi Consular, leaving herself with 2 big units on there. She's going to use Obi-Wan to buff up Ki-Adi-Mundi, making it a 5/5. And Chris is going to tap 1 for, looks like, Snapshot Reflexes and buff up this shuttle. And so that's going to have 8 power from the upgrades and Gar Saxon's ability. Taylor's going to swing in for 5 with Mace Windu, bringing Chris's base up to 17 damage. Chris is going to claim, and another 5 from Ki-Adi-Mundi. And the Jedi Consular, another one comes back out. So Chris draws into a hotshot blaster, but unfortunately those starships cannot wield those. Nor can it wield the jetpack in his hand. Power of the Dark Side, a good card. But with Taylor having so many units out, she can just defeat the weakest unit and keep her strong units out there. But Chris just has to play it. And Taylor defeats the Jedi Consular. Mace swinging in for 5. And Chris at 27 damage on base doesn't think he has an answer. Goes swings in base, and Taylor takes the game and takes the series 2-0. So Again, we saw this Obi-Wan deck take firm control of the board and just get out that nice mid-range and late game damage. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, and hope you watch the next one. Have a good one.